Hello, hello, hello. We are live. We are back. We are back. We are back. Thank you all again for joining us for Campaign Conversations with ReZsaun Lewis. I am ReZsaun Lewis. I'm excited to be here tonight just to talk to you all about what's going on. Of course, this is our weekly address where we get to talk about what's going on in the campaign and sort of address, each week we've been taking a different issue and talking about it and sort of allowing you, the constituent to sort of guide the discussion. I do want to say before we, even before we open it up, that I hope that tonight, as you guys are watching, and I'm sharing it out on my feed. As you're watching, I hope that you're asking questions. I hope you're able to call in and ask questions. And you can click the link which we're going to put in the comment section. Come in, ask questions. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to state your opinions. We need your comments. We need your thoughts. We need your concerns, because that's how we're going to make the biggest impact, is by knowing what you guys need. So I just want to go ahead and put that out before we even get started. So I'm sharing this out on my screen. I'm sorry. And then we're going to get started, because I want to make sure that you guys have an opportunity to join me for this discussion. We are live. Join me for this week's campaign conversation. All right, Jenny, countdown. Let's go. Hello, 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 and welcome back to Campaign Conversations. My name is ReZsaun Lewis, and I am the representative candidate for representative of State House District 97. There is a special election taking place on May 17th, and I am asking for your vote. Before I even get started, I just want to say that I'm excited to once again have the opportunity to ask for your vote. But this is our Campaign Conversations. What we do with this every week is where we endeavor to have conversations centered around, one, what's going on in the campaign trail, let you all know, give you an update on what's happening, and then we take a policy issue and we sort of talk about it, and bring in experts in that field to talk about it. You also have the opportunity during the campaign conversations to be a part of the discussion, and to come on and ask questions. You can put questions in the comment section. We are live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And so please feel free to leave your comments and your questions. I don't know why I didn't pull up my run of show, but that's okay. I hope you guys are having a great day and you're getting off to a great start. Just to give you a campaign, just to get started, in terms of, before I even get into anything related to my campaign, I sort of want to just take a second to acknowledge something that we're all living through right now. We all know what's happening in the Ukraine. We know the choices that have been made, by Vladimir Putin and his generals, I guess you would say, to infiltrate in Ukraine. And I just wanted to start off just an acknowledgement of the people. I think I just saw a number that 197 Ukrainian soldiers lost their lives in the last 24 hours. I just want to start right there, just recognizing, giving people, to people who have been dealing with that since the news really broke last night, that the attack had started in Ukraine. Um, this is real. This is real. And if I may be transparent for a second, I got to admit that I've been disgusted by some of the things that I've seen and some of the responses that I've seen to what's happening there. Um, this is not the time for party politics. This is not the time to make political points. People are losing their lives. As somebody who's worn the uniform and served my country as a member of the United States Army, I know what it's like to serve during wartime. It's not fun. It's not sexy. And it's definitely not something that us as soldiers, airmen, Marines, members of the Coast Guard, and now, to extend the conversation, foreign military members, it's not something we look forward to. We don't look forward to putting our lives on the line. It's something that we accept as a part of the job and we understand as a part of the job, but it does not mean that it's something that we run toward. So I'm going to ask tonight, in the name of bipartisanship, in the name of America, in the name of all the brave men and women of our armed forces who have bled and died for this country, and for any country, any soldiers that have died for any country, that have fought for any country to protect the lands that they live in, the people that they love, that we put away the rhetoric, that we put away the drama, that we put away the nonsense that has become too big of a part of this system, this system that we uphold. It's not democracy. People would say this is what democracy looks like. It's not. Democracy doesn't look like people on social media using the deaths of people to say I was right, I was wrong. This is not the time for that. So I just want to start off by acknowledging the people, what's going on in the Ukraine, and also make each of us aware, keenly aware, of how important it is that we are voting our interests. With that being said, I will get into my campaign update. But I just want to make sure I started off by saying that I don't have any sage, or if I did, I would sort of do it right here so we could sort of spread it around. But so I want to get into my campaign updates. As of today, so we have 82 days left until the campaign. We have 82 days left until the campaign, until the election, May 17th. Again, the areas affected: Somerville, Dorchester, parts of Dorchester County, Berkeley County, and Colleton County. Mostly Dorchester and Colleton County. A very small portion of Berkeley County is involved in the election, I believe. Running from Somerville up to St. George, sort of a little bit further up to Branchville Way, south to Cottageville, and right around the Walterboro area through Ridgeville. So if you live in that area, if your previous representative was Representative Mandy Kimmons, then you would be eligible to vote in this election. We have raised over $10,000 with over 100 donors. We are very proud of that. If I had my soundboard, that's when I would press the applause button so that y'all could cheer with me. We are very excited. Our campaign's on the move. We're on the run. And we have several things that we're really excited about. For our upcoming events, please make sure you check the flyer in our group chat. Check the flyer. I just said it out loud. Why am I Ron Burgundy right now? I'm sorry. He will read anything that you put in the teleprompter. No, but we do have upcoming events coming up. I have them right here. Thank you, Jen. All right, so on February 24th, we have an event at Lux Coffee and Wine Bar in Somerville. We will be there at 8 a.m. for February 26th. Sorry, Saturday, February 26th, at Lux Espresso and Wine Bar, which is at 1430 Central Avenue, Somerville, South Carolina 29483. And then at 9:45, we'll be doing some community canvassing with the Dorchester County Democratic Party, the Clemson precincts. If you're interested in joining us for some canvassing, please email us at, which email address am I using now, Jenny? Same one. So ReZsaun Lewis, ReZsaunForsc @gmail.com. Once again, that's ReZsaun, ReZsaunForsc.com for email to email if you're interested in joining us for the canvassing. And then that same day from 4 to 7, yes, we will be very busy that day. From 4 to 7 p.m., we will be in Colleton County in Walterboro at the Democratic Party Blue Bash at the Colleton Museum in the food. I think it's isn't it a farmers market and museum in Walterboro? I believe it is. Let's see. I said it wrong. I said what wrong? Tell me what I said wrong. All right. Email ReZsaun Lewis, ReZsaun. That's what I said. Is there a new one? Sorry, y'all. We are doing this live. I'm waiting for your response. Is it info? Info at ReZsaunForsc.com. Yeah, I thought that's the new one. That wasn't the one I was using. All right, sorry. Email us at ReZsaunForsc.com. Thank you, Jenny. Sorry about that. So that's if you want to canvass with us. Again, that same day, 4 to 7 p.m., Colleton County. We'll be at Walterboro at the Democratic Party Blue Bash. If you like to see a lot of people who are running, if you want to, like, there's going to be a lot of people who are current candidates. I know that Senator McLeod's going to be there. Senator McLeod's going to be there. I know Representative Crystal Matthews is going to be there. Is Joe going to be there, Jenny? Former Representative Joe Cunningham is going to be there, who's running for governor. Mia McLeod running for governor. Crystal Matthews running for Senate is going to be there. Lots of people going to be there. I think it's $25 a ticket. Come on out, meet me. I will shake your hand and take a picture with you. I'd love to, and you can post it on the gram, and it will be fun. February 28th at 6:30, I will be speaking to the Western Dorchester County Democratic Club, which is at 241 North Parlor Avenue in St. George, South Carolina. And then on March 3rd, I will be at the I'll have another Campaign Conversations live stream, which will be talking about Women's History Month, which is in March, Women's History Month. So March is Black History Month. Sorry, February is Black History Month. March is Women's History Month. So we'll be celebrating Women's History Month, kicking that off on March 3rd. And then March 19th, we'll be having the Dorchester County Democratic Party Convention. So save that date, March 19th. I'm really excited about it. I just figured out that it's there. So I'm excited. We'll be there. And remember, the election is on May 17th, and we will unveil more of this. And of course, if you want to find out this stuff, you can find it on my website, Erica, don't laugh at me, www.ReZsaunForsc.com. Now, like I told you guys, every week we have someone different, or we take a platform issue that we discuss that is something that we want to do when we get to Columbia, and we bring someone on who's an expert in the field to talk about sort of what's being done currently in Columbia to support this issue, and then we sort of have a back and forth about it, because as I said when I made my announcement, this campaign isn't about me saying how much I know. It's not me saying that I have all the answers, I have all the figures. But what I do know is that there are people who are experts in this field who will make great advisors when I'm in that role, people that I'll be able to call on and reach out to about these issues when I'm trying to be informed about them. Of course, you want to make sure that you're talking to the people who are working in the field. I think that's really, really important. And today we have a very special young lady who's on with us. I've met with her several times. She is the director of education for the My Sister's House. Her name is Miss Sydney Conrad, and we are going to bring her on the screen right now. See how that worked out?
Hey, perfect. Zoom in. I love it.
Yes. How's it going?
It's going well. Going well. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. Can for those who don't know you, please introduce yourself to the audience.
Yeah, so my name is Sydney, and I work for My Sister's House. We're the Low Country leaders in domestic violence survival, and we've been supporting the Tri-County area, so Charleston, Dorchester, and Berkeley, for over 40 years, providing life-saving services to both men and women who've experienced domestic violence.
Thank you so much, Sydney. And I know we want to make sure before we get into this discussion that we give sort of a trigger warning, because I'm pretty sure this is something that people deal with a lot.
Yeah. This is a difficult topic. We're talking about people who are experiencing significant trauma and abuse and even lives that are being lost. So this is a sensitive topic. If you or someone that you know is in need and would benefit from support from My Sister's House, please do call us. Our crisis line is available 24 hours a day, and that number is 843-744-3242.
Thank you so much, Sydney. Thank you so much. So you mentioned, you talked a little bit about My Sister's House. Can you talk a little bit about the history of the organization and sort of how it came to be and its role in the Low Country?
Absolutely. So we were formed by a group of volunteers back in the late 70s, early 80s, who were really responding to a gap in services. People needed support. People needed a place to go to get resources, and that simply didn't exist. So we were a crisis line first, and the primary need at that time was women who were calling for support and a safe place to go after having experienced physical violence. And so they were calling from a healthcare facility, needing help, and really quickly we were seeing the need for those shelter services provided in a safe location. And we've done nothing but grow since then. We've been flexible and adapt to meet our clients' needs. We've added case management, counseling, clinical support groups, court advocacy, financial literacy support. And even in the last 2 years with COVID, we've transitioned and we're using hotels for our clients' safety. We're keeping folks safe from violence and now from COVID. And we're just continuing to adjust and see what our clients need, how we can meet those needs and reduce the barriers when overcoming violence.
Thank you so much for that. And how long have you been with the organization?
I've been with the organization about 6.5 years.
6.5 years. All right. So thank you so much. So you have a wide array of knowledge in this. And so you are a great person to have a discussion with this about. Now, as I mentioned, before we were talking a little bit before we, turn the cameras on. This is a big issue in our state, right? Can you speak to how, what the numbers say in terms of where South Carolina ranks when it comes to domestic violence in the nation?
Yeah, huge. So South Carolina has some of the highest rates of domestic violence in the country. It is a little bit tough to gauge the actual numbers when we consider that policy report that we look at every year that ranks where the states are. It's actually looking at all of the women who were killed by men. So the report is actually geared towards addressing firearms and some restrictions around that. So it's a little bit misleading. Even still, we are still very high. We see our rates continuing to rise, and we're seeing abuse starting younger and younger, as young as 10, 11, 12. So in adolescent relationships, we see that. And, it's impacting generations at this point. We're seeing it just perpetuated through families, and we're not doing enough to really address that.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so when you speak to, because I think the number that I've heard was that South Carolina is like 5th in the nation when you talk about women's deaths due to gun violence and domestic violence. Was that the number you're talking about?
Yeah, it is 5th. And so, and the thing about that number is that it actually includes, if I, God forbid, if my husband murdered me, I would be in that report. However, if I
Yeah.
walked down the street and a stranger murdered me, a strange man that I don't know murdered me, I would also be in that report. So that's a little bit misleading. It
Ah.
includes all
Okay.
the times a female was killed by a male, regardless of the relationship. And it
Okay.
also really, I mean, a significant point is that it leaves out any male lives that have been lost due to domestic
Yes.
violence, because we know that men
Yes.
experience abuse as well. And we're also not considering what were the other lives lost, children or innocent bystanders, if it happened in a public place. So there's a lot of data to consider. That being said, we still have significant rates in this area.
Wow.
We know that.
Yeah, definitely. Has on the state level, has there been
Mhm.
any bills that are currently being matriculated through the House or the Senate that are addressing any of these issues, trying to mitigate or prevent domestic violence?
So, and I should say, as far as my sister's house and the agency, we really provide direct support and services to the Tri-County area. We do not do advocacy and legislative work. Our
Hmm.
state coalition, Skidvasa, does that, and they do an incredible job. To my knowledge, right now, there are not any prevention bills or things in place right now. The last significant change we had in our legislation was back in 2015 to 2017, when the legislation was expanding to include same-sex couples
Mm.
under the domestic violence protection, which did happen and is great. We do need that language to still be changed, because it's been interpreted to include same-sex couples, but the actual statute does not read that it includes same-sex couples for those who cohabit or formerly cohabited, which is really important when we consider how many people are moving to this state, to this area
Hmm.
specifically, every single day. We have a lot of people coming here, and if they're not looking at those specific laws and know how it's been interpreted 5 years ago now, it's possible we could see someone missing an important person that needs help. And I've actually talked with providers who didn't know that the understanding and the law had expanded. So that really is a change that needs to be made, but that's the last significant change. And some other states have looked at legislation around recognizing other types of abuse, because we primarily look at physical harm, threat of physical harm, sexual abuse, assault with a weapon, and things like that. But we know that that's potentially years into an abusive relationship that physical
Hmm.
abuse might start occurring. We need to recognize emotional abuse and verbal abuse, financial
Yeah.
abuse, all of those things that are really damaging and traumatic for someone, impact children so negatively, and
Yeah.
legislation is so difficult around that. So there are pros and cons to looking at what we would consider coercive control legislation. Some
Hmm.
other states and countries have introduced laws around this, and it's really difficult. It's really open to interpretation, but it increases our understanding of what's protected. So there's a lot of potential. That I haven't heard of that really making any movement in South Carolina. But that's an idea, and that's really kind of a Sydney idea as far as that
No, it's
goes,
good.
because in my role, I love to say, what are other states doing? What are other areas doing? What are ways that we could implement them into this state, into our counties,
Yes.
to increase public safety and well-being overall? So.
Yes. Yes. So is domestic violence, is that how it's seen as a public safety issue? That's how it's normally addressed?
It absolutely should be.
Uh-huh.
One thing I think that if we can work to change something, today, tomorrow, ongoing, is that we need to say domestic violence is 100% a public safety issue. It is an epidemic that is occurring in our country. It's so often thought of as a personal, private issue, but while it might start at home, it does not stay at home. Our
Mm.
society, our neighborhoods, our communities are built up from these relationships that are at home. And when we have unstable relationships in so many households that are creating this society, this community, we're creating an unstable area for the public,
Hmm.
right? We're seeing an
Absolutely.
increase in mass shootings and public shootings where innocent people are losing their lives. And statistically, when we look at that, a significant number of those men had a documented history of violence against
Yeah.
women. They were not supposed to possess a firearm. They were going out after the ultimate loss of power and control because their partner had left the relationship, and they were
Hmm.
retaliating. So we have to consider, we just had the open carry law go through, and thinking about
Right.
how guns are addressed and the gun safety in this area. All of those things are connected.
No, absolutely. And so one of the reasons that we wanted to have you on tonight was that the situation that recently happened in Florence, where the young
Hmm.
lady was killed by her husband after being
Hmm.
denied a restraining order. What
Hmm.
could be done? Is there anything that could have been done that may have made that situation less deadly, if you will?
Yeah, so that she could still be here today.
Yeah.
That's a really good question, and I don't know all of the particulars of that scenario.
Hmm.
An order of protection, which is essentially a restraining order for a domestic violence situation. When orders of protection are put into place, they really have to prove that they are in danger, and they have to prove that quite a bit. And it's up to the judge to put that into place or not. It really can vary depending on what judge you get. At the end of the day, an order of protection is just a piece of paper. It's just something saying you are not allowed to contact this person, and it's not physically stopping anyone from doing anything. It is an added layer, and it's another step that we need to take to keep someone safe. But what we need to do again is look at, we know that the average victim leaves an abusive relationship 7 to 10 times before leaving for good. Every time they leave and return, it becomes increasingly dangerous, and we see more physical injuries sustained. We need to consider what organizations, what service providers are coming into contact with this person. Time one, time two, time three. Where can we connect someone to a significant level of services to help change the trajectory with their support, with their, being a part of that change, but so that someone like this young lady who lost her life so tragically, what would have happened if she had been supported maybe in a different way? And again, I don't know the
Mm.
scenario, but this is big when we think about the criminality of other types of domestic violence. If someone is if law enforcement responds to a verbal altercation, are how serious is that taken? Are they offered
Yeah.
services at that point? And more often than not, someone might deny services. They might not want anything if they're offered. And again, so it comes back to, in my opinion, it comes back to education more often than not. The
Yeah.
person that's experiencing the verbal abuse might not even realize it's wrong. How do we increase community's understanding at a very basic level that every single person on this planet knows they deserve to be respected, loved, and safe physically
Yeah.
and emotionally in a relationship, and to recognize some of those red flags and to know our worth, right? To know our value and say, I'm worthy of someone treating me with respect, and what's
Yeah.
happening right now isn't okay.
Yeah.
Um,
No, absolutely. Thank you for that. And not to pivot over to my other, taking one hat off and putting on another. We're actually working on an event, for that we're actually having to talk
mhm,
about that. So I guess this will be a great opportunity to talk about, Teen Dating Violence Prevention Month,
mhm.
and sort of helping to shine a light on, those sort of red flags that you talked about. So this is
Yeah.
the opportunity to talk about that. I didn't plan on doing that necessarily, but please,
Yeah.
by all means, talk about Teen Dating Violence Prevention Month and how
Mhm.
we how organizations are providing that information, that outreach.
Yeah, absolutely. So February is Black History Month, and important we talk about that and recognize. But it's also Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month, as you said, and so we raise awareness for teen dating violence and the fact that, like I said, adolescents are experiencing abuse in their own relationships, and it's impacting their physical health, relationship health, mental health, long term. Um, and again, we learn about relationships, we learn about how to treat others from home. And when we see that this is a generational issue, we know that we have to be out there in the community working with young individuals to provide that information, to be that positive role model and recognize those red flags. And even more importantly, knowing for young people how to support a friend who's experiencing abuse, how to even have a conversation with a friend who's using harmful behaviors. Because, we talk about everyone knows someone who's experienced abuse. Everyone knows someone who has gone through this, but they're just embarrassed or isolated. If that's
Mm,
true, we also interact and know people who are choosing to use harm every single day. And how are we
yeah,
actively calling out those behaviors that are harmful? How are we actively supporting someone who's experienced abuse? And really, with youth especially, having those conversations early and often. I always think, I remember, we talk about, what do you want to study in school? What do you want to be when you grow up? And all these things. But
mhm,
how often do we talk about, like, what are the characteristics about yourself that you really like? What do you look for in
yeah,
your friends? What do you look for in your dating partners? Those might be like, oh, that's like a cheesy, like warm, fuzzy kind of conversation that only, girls have. But no, boys have emotions. We all have relationships. We need to talk about it. If we don't know what we want, we will end up with something we potentially don't want. So, we have to talk about it, and had a number of events that we've done this month to help raise awareness, and really looking forward to being a part of the one that's coming up on Saturday from noon to 2 for teens and adults to come and hear from myself, from Chris Rainey, and then also to teens from their perspective about building healthy relationships. Because again, healthy relationships should build us up. They should make us feel stronger, feel good about ourselves. And, it's just so, I've talked to so many teens who are in relationships that you can tell just are tearing them down, but they stay because they don't think there's any better. They don't deserve any better. No one cares. They have no one to talk to. And
yeah,
that's simply not true.
yeah. Thank you for absolutely, Sydney. And like you mentioned, you are one of our keynote speakers. You and Mr. Christian Rainey. We also have Zacchaeus Kennard and Natasha Lewis, who will be serving as teen facilitators. This is a free workshop that is designed for adults and teens alike.
Mhm.
It is February is, like you said, Black History Month, but it's also teen dating prevention, teen dating violence prevention. We don't want to prevent them from dating. We want to prevent them from
Right.
being violent while dating. So that's a very important thing that we do try to make that happen. And for those who don't know, in addition to running for office, I'm also the executive director of Low Country Youth Services, and this is something that we're doing to address this issue head on and to provide that information so that young people are able to recognize those symbols and those signs. And as you see here, it is a free event. It's free admission. You don't have to pay anything, and it's a virtual event. So you don't have to worry about trying to get anywhere. It's going to be a great event. It's going to be strictly from 12 to 2. We're going to have breakout sessions. They're going to be sessions for adults, sessions for kids. So I would even suggest coming out and I would even suggest coming out having 2 devices, prepared and ready to go so that y'all can log on twice, register twice, so that you can, and I'll put the link down here so y'all can see that as well. So if you want to register, it's all you have to do is follow the link that is in the comment section right here. It's kind of long, but this is the link right here. It's also in the comment section. It will take place from 12 to 2. It's our annual event. I think this is the 4th time we've done it. And every year it's always a great event. I'm so excited to be working with my sister's house on this. But we didn't do this event to plug it. I did want to talk to you about one more thing. There's an
Mhm.
article that was in Channel 5, and I wanted to share the video and we could sort of respond to it if
Mhm.
that's okay.
Sure.
Right here. Can y'all see the screen? Can y'all see my screen?
It's a
Yeah.
little bit blurry, but yes.
All right.
In addition to the physical, emotional, and mental toll that domestic violence takes on its victims and their loved ones, we now know the financial impact that it has right here in South Carolina. A new study completed for the first time ever in our state reveals intimate partner violence costs South Carolina nearly $1 million each day. State House reporter Mary Green joining us now in Columbia. Mary, what else are we learning?
Well, and that study found that the areas of the state really feeling the economic effects of domestic violence the most are the state's major population areas, including Charleston, Columbia, and the upstate. But the economists and the groups behind this study also emphasize that this is a statewide problem happening everywhere, and that it's going to take a statewide effort to prevent and stop it.
There was a time when we didn't talk about domestic abuse at the dinner table or even in polite society. We didn't talk about human trafficking or child exploitation or sexual abuse. These are things that just people didn't talk about in polite society. But today we need to talk about these things, especially domestic abuse today, and to lift up those people out there, because there's a lot of folks right now who are being victimized by this, and they feel like they're alone.
The study found there are more than 80,000 victims of domestic violence each year in South Carolina, which has had one of the 10 highest rates of female homicides among all states for the last 17 years. The report states nearly half of all women in South Carolina will experience intimate partner violence at some point in their lifetimes. And it costs the state more than $358 million each year. The study broke down those costs, finding the biggest losses come from lost worker productivity for both victims and their loved ones, physical health care, and most tragically, loss of life. State lawmakers say having this type of data for the first time ever is groundbreaking and will help them make policy changes to reflect it.
When we first started doing this work, you used to be able to kind of tug on people's heartstrings and get them to really care. Those days are gone. You got to have, if you want an ounce of success, you've got to be able to have evidence.
And speaking of policy coming from here at the State House, lawmakers today highlighted a bill that would require South Carolina schools teach about teen dating violence and its prevention in their middle and high school health classes. The bill's sponsors say more than 20 other states have this type of requirement already in place. They want South Carolina to join that list. Reporting live from the State House, Mary Green, Live 5.
So that video, right? So they talked about the economic impacts of and I guess to make people care about things, sometimes you have to bring money into it. I guess, especially at a state level. But does that information sound like familiar and consistent with what you've learned over your time and experience?
Absolutely. And it's really interesting to see it broken out by state like that. You know, formerly we had national numbers. So they estimated that domestic violence impacted the national economy $6 to $8 billion a year, which, so we could use that as an example if we had to talk numbers, but that's almost too big of a number to even like wrap your head around, right? When it's in the billions. So it is really interesting to see them, and the statistics around our state numbers. And it's really concerning when we consider, our funding from the Victims of Crime Act and the Violence Against Women Act have continuously been cut. And, we're seeing some of that funding potentially being restored, but it's not anywhere close to where it was, a number of years ago. So when we're thinking about the funding that's supporting these agencies that are doing this work, and I heard a number recently from a colleague who had said that the average victim comes into contact with 28 service providers. So we're thinking about agencies like mine and others that are providing support and services that are grant funded. That's a significant dollar amount that's providing services, and it's getting cut. And just so many people are in need. Even the amount that's being spent now, we need more to be effective and to really change the direction that we're going with our numbers. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for that. I definitely agree. I guess the last thing I'll ask you, and you sort of alluded to it earlier, but I just want to, again, just because I do want to make sure that I'm speaking to what needs to happen in Columbia. If you were to have an opportunity, you had a magic wand and you were to build legislation around limiting, preventing, mitigating domestic violence, what are 2 or 3 key approaches you'd use to make that change?
I think the early education, I think, the middle school and high school education is a key piece. So having that, I think that it should be a K through 12 program. I don't think that there's any reason to wait until middle school. At that point, they already have established dating patterns and how they're treating other people or how they expect to treat other people in place. I think we need to look at, the way that firearms are addressed. Something about like 75% of domestic violence related homicides occur with a firearm. So looking at how those are connected and then expanding the legislation to include other types of abuse so that we're really looking at how we can address it early. We can't wait until someone is physically harmed. That might never happen in an abusive relationship, or it might be the first time physical harm occurs. It could be that time that someone loses their life. So we simply can't wait for that to happen. We have to look at the earlier types of abuse that we see, the verbal abuse, emotional abuse, mental abuse, and things like that.
Thank you so much, Sydney. If someone needs to get more information about you guys, I'm going to put the link back up here. But please,
Yeah.
how can they get in contact with you all? If someone's in a situation, they say, hey, I heard about this service. I need the support. How can I
Mhm.
reach out to you?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, so our crisis line is available 24 hours a day. It is on that website, so mysistershouse.org, if you look us up. But the number right now is 843-744-3242. And again, this is an issue that every single person in this county, in these three counties, have a role to play in addressing domestic violence. Whether you are, a law enforcement official, a teacher, a stay-at-home mom with neighbors that you're interacting in a mom's group, every single person has a role to play. So if you want to learn more about domestic violence, get involved with us, volunteer with us, or even host an educational session, I would love to hear from you about that as well. And my contact information is on the website.
Thank you so much, Sydney. I appreciate you spending some time with us tonight.
Mhm.
And I look forward to seeing you on Saturday.
See you
I'll probably
then.
call you tomorrow because we probably need to go over some stuff.
Sounds good. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thank you, Sydney. Talk to you tomorrow. All right,
Bye.
bye. We got some comments. Erica says, "Thank you, Sydney, for sharing that info with us. This is a topic that affects a lot of people in different ways. So we
Mhm.
definitely appreciate Sydney for coming on tonight and talking about it. Again, as I mentioned several times, throughout my campaign and just in speaking to people, I don't feel like my job as a candidate for the South Carolina House of Representatives is to know everything about every topic. My job is to make sure that I'm listening to the people of the state of South Carolina, as well as the experts in the field, to find out what is needed. When I get to Columbia, having all the answers in my head will not benefit me if I'm not consulting the people out here that are doing the work real time and making it happen. And Sydney is one of those people that I know from my work in the community that I've had the opportunity to work with, who is definitely steadfast and has her finger on the pulse of what's going on. So I'm going to let Sydney go. I'm not going to hold Sydney on the camera all night. But thank you so much for joining me, Sydney.
Thank you for
And
having me.
thank you, Sid. So I'm going to pivot into sort of wrapping this thing up for tonight. So I want to start off by just first of all letting y'all know that we did not post a podcast on last weekend on our platform as we originally planned to do. It's because of our disagreement as a team with what's happening at Spotify. Spotify purchased the rights to Anchor, which is the a really easy way to get your podcast out there. But when you don't agree with the company, you got to stand on your values. You have to stand on your principles, even if you have to find a harder way to get your podcast out there. So we're looking for other opportunities and other avenues for getting our podcast out there into the avenue, so that those of you who are watching those of you who watch or say, hey, I really want to listen or pay attention to it, but I can't just sit and watch this for an hour or so. We'll put it on the audio so you can watch it. We have potentially found a platform. So we'll just keep you posted about what's going on with that. Of course, as always, I'm going to ask, we mentioned that we got over $10,000 in our total donations, which is amazing, but we are being outraised tremendously. Now, we happen to know that there is a machine on, the other side, and by the other side, I mean in the Republican Party, that really does do for all the critiques that people have for the Republican Party, they do an amazing job of making sure that they are that they finance and they support their candidates financially. So what I'm going to ask that you all do, I'm going to put myself back in here. What I'm going to ask that you do is go to my website, which is www.ReZsaun and go to where it says donate, right? If you click where it says donate, let me switch screens, share this tab instead. If you click where it says donate, you will get to this right here, right? And it explains who I am. It explains what I stand for, how to send a check if you prefer to send a check, but you can sign up to contribute today. You can sign up to contribute today. You can donate $25, $100, $250, and you can donate up to $1,000 per election. Or if you need to make a different amount, you can donate, $35 or $274 if you want, or however you want to do it, you can do that. You can also sign up to be a monthly donor. So just make it, you can do yes, count me in, And if you want to donate, $10, please donate $10 monthly so that we can have a chance at raising what we needed for this campaign. The Republicans have raised a total of $77,000 between the two candidates. That's a lot, y'all. And you may say to yourself, politics, is all about money, and they're just asking for money so that they can, I'm going to tell you that politics, from what I've seen, has some of the tightest regulations and rulings when it comes to making sure that the money is being spent exactly how it's supposed to be spent for these campaigns. So what do you have to pay for? Again, some of you may have seen and you may not have seen my video where I talked about why I got my sign. I'll show you my video. Hold on. I'll pull it up. But you may not have seen my video, so I'm going to pull up my video of where I got my sign, which I was really excited about. Where is it at? It's right here. Hold on. Sorry, I'm going to back it up. See if y'all can see, because I'm really excited about my sign. But I want y'all to see my sign. And I used a very familiar song about a sign because I thought it would resonate with the people. Oh, cornball. Y'all can mind me. All right. So I'm going to play it for y'all.
What could it be?
So I was really proud of that sign, right? But guess what, y'all? Signs cost money. I have a sign right here. I'm very excited about my signs, right? I love my sign. We have several. We ordered 100 signs, and we're going to get more signs. But in order to get more signs, we need more money. Now, some of you may have driven up and down Highway 78 in Somerville, from Somerville through St. George. They have signs everywhere. And when you've raised $77,000 combined, it's a lot easier to get signs than somebody who has raised a total of $10,000. Though $10,000, I'm greatly appreciative for. So I'm asking. I don't want to say begging because that sounds desperate, but I'm asking that you go to my link, go to secure.actblue/donate/ReZsaun for SC and cast a donation today. Why? Because we don't want to lose this race because we didn't have the money to support the work. I will tell you, we will not lose this race because we don't have the better candidate. I'll tell you that. We definitely have the better candidate. We definitely have the better representative for the people of District 97. We definitely have the better representative for the people of South Carolina. We definitely have the representative that is going to fight for you, that will fight for public education, that will fight for better roads, that will fight for better infrastructure, that will fight for expanded broadband, that will fight for you, the regular, everyday American individual who is not beholden to corporate interests, that is not beholden to corruption. I'm just saying, we're not going to lose because we don't have an exciting candidate, someone that can coalesce and work with other people who can go across the party line to make things happen. I saw a sign literally that said that a certain candidate that I'm running against knows how to get things done. And one of the things they said they know how to get done is fixing the roads. Have y'all seen our roads? I'll leave that there. They said they want to fix traffic. Have you seen our traffic? Now you have to ask yourself, Who's in charge of the roads right now? Who's in charge of fixing the roads right now? I'll let you Google that. You can figure that out for yourself. But I promise you, if you look at the signs, what I just said will make a whole lot more sense. So with that being said, please donate to my campaign. We will not lose this campaign because we don't have the better candidate. We will only lose this campaign because people don't know that they have an option. People don't know that they have a choice. And that choice is to vote for ReZsaun Lewis for South Carolina House District 97. I'm excited to be a part of this race. I'm going to fight until the very end. We had a very interesting event last Saturday, which was all Republican. And we came out like winners. Why? Because we're not afraid to go into Republican spaces. We're not afraid to go into conservative spaces. We are a campaign that can talk to anybody because we're here to serve the American people. And I always want to make sure that I say, even though I'm running as a Democrat, I'm not running to be the best Democrat. I'm running to serve the people of District 97 in the state of South Carolina. Because when I get elected on May 17th, I will not just be representing Democrats. I'll be representing Republicans. I'll be representing independents. I'll be representing Green Party. I'll be representing Tea Party. I'll be representing libertarians. Every single, no matter what your voting block is, I will be representing you. And knowing that I'm representing you, I will listen to you. I will respect you. And I will give your voice an opportunity to be at the table and to be heard. And no, I don't know everything. There are some things I'm still green on. And I'm completely fine with admitting that. Because knowing everything, we got people that think they know everything up there in the state in Columbia right now. What's getting done? What's getting done that's making your life better? What's getting done that's increasing your pay? What's getting done that's improving your health care? What's getting done that's improving your roads? Every year, when I spoke to Representative Crystal Matthews, every year they start the annual session with the same issues, with the exact same issues, which they're not going to agree on. But what they're hoping is that with the supermajority in the House, and a majority in the Senate, and the governor's seat, that they can push any bills through that they want to. And they've been able to do it. And when the entire thing flops, they say, oh, it's the Democrats' fault that we're losing this, that the state is the way it is. It's the Democrats' fault that the state is the way that it is. It's the Democrats' fault that we're 45th in the nation in education. It's the Democrats' fault. Do we want to serve the people, or are we looking for people to blame? Do we want to serve the people, or do we want people to blame? Because I think that's a hard issue, which goes back to what I started with in the very beginning. As opposed to serving the people, we're trying to make political points so that we can look good to our base. Because our base is the one that's funding these elections. Our base is the one that's giving us the money. The base is the one that's putting the battery pack in their back on social media. But you can't just serve your base. I will not be somebody that just serves my base. I will serve the people of South Carolina. And if you want a representative that's going to serve the people of South Carolina and serve District 97, then on May 17th, I am asking that you vote for me. Again, on Saturday at 8 a.m., I will be at Lux Espresso and Wine Bar in Somerville at 8 a.m. Following that, there will be canvassing done with the Dorchester County Democratic Party in the Clemson District. You can join if you like to join us. Go to our email address, info@ReZsaun4sc.com. After later on that evening, we'll be in Walterboro from 4 to 7 at the Colleton County Blue Bash. So that's what's going on Saturday. Again, Monday, I'll be in St. George at the Western Democratic Party Club, Western Dorchester Democratic Club, speaking to that group. And again, go to my website for more information. Please donate if you haven't already. I need your support. I'm gonna fight, y'all. I'm gonna fight. My team, Jenny actually, and JGS Strategies will be fighting. And also, while I'm saying that, I also want to say this. There's some other important races that are happening throughout the state that I need y'all to support. Jenny, I need you to put the information in the comment section so I can make sure I get the right stuff. Judd Larkins is running for Congress. You need to support him in District Judd District 2. All right, District 2. Judd Larkins, District 2. You need to support him. Go to his website, which Jenny is going to put in the comment section. Suzanne LaRoche. Suzanne LaRoche has a special election like I do. It's not LaRoche. Suzanne it's La something. Suzanne La Rochelle. I missed the N. Suzanne La Rochelle has a special election in the Florence area. Yeah. The Florence area, which is going to be her date of election is on March 29th. So next month, all right, next month, Suzanne La Rochelle is running in the Florence area for the House, or is it Senate? Senate. She's running for Senate out of the Florence area. So if you're in the Florence area, Suzanne La Rochelle. And Kevin Eckert. Kevin Eckert is running for Congress as well. In the upstate, District 5. District 5. All right, District 5, Kevin Eckert. So that's 3 people, right? I think Kevin has the regular, so that'll be November. And Judd is also November. But Suzanne La Rochelle is on March 29th. Why is it important that I do that? Most people, I want to say this really quickly, and then I'm going to get out of here. Because I talk a lot about it not being the average politician. I'm not, y'all. I'm not the average politician. I'm not somebody just out here for myself and to see what I can get out of things. I'm not just somebody that's here to uplift myself and to self-aggrandize. I am somebody that really believes in the power of us. That means that sometimes I have to use my platforms to uplift other people and other people's campaigns. Shout out to Michelle Brandt running a district house, SE House District 113. She was just on a call with me earlier tonight. She's an amazing candidate, someone that's really fighting to do something different. She's a mother. She serves her community. She serves on the recreation board, West Ashley. She's just a really good person. And we need good people in Columbia. Yeah, we want to have people who can, who has backgrounds in politics, but we have mad people that have been in politics their whole lives. They've served as legal aides. They've been lawyers. And some of them are terrible, terrible, terrible legislators. We know because we see the bills that they're trying to push through. We have people pushing bills through Congress, through the General Assembly that don't know what the words mean that they're trying to legislate for. That's a problem. That's a problem. And I'm crazy enough to believe that if we're doing the same things over and over and over again, expecting a different result, that's the key definition of insanity. Of course, Crystal Matthews. Shout out to Crystal Matthews. She's not insane. She's great. She's running for U.S. Senate as well as SE House 117 to retain her seat. So make sure you support them, man. Like, those are people that I know, I vouch for, and I believe are good people to have in Columbia and in Washington. You don't have to take my word for it. Go check them out. I guess I'll finish with this because I sort of been riffing for the last 5 minutes. This is serious. This is serious. We started out on a very serious note with what's happening in Ukraine. And if nothing else, times like these, like I remember 9/11. Could you imagine if during 9/11, people hopped on social media, which we didn't really have social media at the time, but people hopped on their cell phones and started telling people, I'm so glad that they're proving that George Bush is a weak president because people have the audacity to attack America. They didn't do that after 9/11. People didn't point fingers. We came together as Americans after 9/11. We joined hands in the middle of the streets to show that we were greater than any opposition that could come against our country. What happened to that? What happened to us? We can do that again. But we got to get out of this stuff that's holding us up, that's keeping us separated. There are people that benefit from our separation. Together, everyone achieves more. I said in my campaign, it sounds cliche, it sounds weak, it sounds corny or whatever. But tell me, how do Americans win if foreign dictators think that 37% of the country agrees with them when they invade another country without provocation? How does that benefit us as Americans? What does that say about the American spirit? A house divided amongst itself cannot stand. I believe that was Abraham Lincoln. It's true. We gotta come together, y'all. And that's a message that I'm gonna fight to bring to the campaign trail. That's a message that I'm gonna fight to bring to the people of South Carolina. And even if, God forbid I lose this election, if you know me, you know that even if I lose, I'm still going to fight to bring that message to the people of America. Because that's the message that we need today. This is my last video of Black History Month. So I want to make sure that I do close by once again just saying thank you to every person that's paved the way for me individually as an African-American man in this country. Every Black man, every Black woman, every person, who came before me, and I don't want to start listing off names because I forget really important people. But I hope that during this month, as opposed to arguing about whether or not there should be a month dedicated to Black people, we actually learned something. I hope we learned something about our country. Hope we learned something about our history. But most of all, I hope we learned something about ourselves. Because when you learn about yourself, that's when you really can make change. That's really when you can change the world. Thank y'all so much for y'all's time. Again, please go to my website, www.ReZsaunforsc.com. Make a donation. We're being outraged, but that's not something that worries me. What would worry me is if I felt like I wasn't the best candidate in this race. And I know that I am. I know that I am, and I hope that you do too. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your energy. Y'all have a great night.